so we can say hi.
Okay.
All right, hey everybody, we're live. Now back to business. I need to test the ads. Something changed in StreamYard.
Okay.
Usually it works if I let the ad play all the way through. It usually works the way that it used to, in that it auto unmutes you.
That's right. And now
Did we talk about this? Was it with you that I noticed
yeah,
it? Okay.
It was me.
I couldn't remember.
So I'll have to unmute myself. You get
Just be aware.
Yeah, I will.
It might or might not. I'm going to test it now. You'll definitely have to unmute yourself now. Well,
right.
I'd say definitely, but yeah. And you ever notice how online shopping has gotten dangerously easy? See, it unmuted us.
Oh, it did unmute us. So
Yeah,
somebody
it's super. Well, no, not necessarily. Don't trust it. Look.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, I will.
Because I can't control. Well, I don't know if I could or not.
That's weird.
Anyway.
Why is on Business Brain on X? It's all out of. It's the resolution is all off. Oh! I got to turn that off because I can't hear it. It'll be a warped. I'm going to. Why is it? Oh, it's not on my profile. Is it?
It should be.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's weird though. It's like the vertical one is on.
I'm testing that with the vertical one because it can do both.
Okay. Yeah. So whatever. I don't care. Can I call out our sponsors?
Masterclass and Shopify.
Oh, great. Join us. I need to do a text expander.
Mm-hmm.
Join us as we live stream Business Brain. Awesome. I don't even know. This is so bad. We've recorded this for 11 years. Is Business Brain one word? Do we have an intercap or is it 2 words? It's 2 words, right?
Yeah. Are you tagging the show or no?
No, I'm just typing it.
Business Brain, we treat as 2 words.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, no, it's a great question.
Yeah.
You never know.
Our sponsors this week, Shopify. Shopify at Shopify. I love that they sponsor us. And Masterclass.
I
love me some Masterclass.
Same.
Masterclass. Just amazing. All right. Okay. Those tagged. They're ready to go. Looks like the stream's working. Last week it didn't work very well.
That's true.
So we only had 2 people here.
Yeah.
One was my mother. So
that's right.
Mom.
It's always okay to say hi, Mom. That's right.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us, thank you very much. We're going to record two episodes. We're going to record our Wednesday show right now. And then after that, we're going to record our famous Friday AI episode, which we have some really interesting stuff. We're going to talk about contextual AI and anti-gravity, Google's anti-gravity, which is going to blow our minds. So you want to be sure to hang out for the entire 40 minutes to an hour. Somebody just posted in what Ev posts. Hi. Thank you very much. That looks like it came from YouTube, right?
Hi.
Is that
from YouTube
symbol? Yeah.
It is the
YouTube
YouTube
symbol. Christmas tree and everything up in there.
Love
we
it.
have a rule in my house, no Christmas decorations till after Thanksgiving.
We have a second one from YouTube. We normally have that rule. We're traveling for Thanksgiving this year.
Okay.
And so we put up the decorations last night so that
got it.
We didn't put the ornaments on the tree yet.
I
but
see.
We got everything
ready.
ready.
Staged. Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's depends how you're not going to be there, so you might as well get it ready.
We were like, if we don't do it now,
Yep.
it's gonna wind up being like the weekend before Christmas that we do this stuff. So it's like, no, it'll be nice. We'll come home after being away for Thanksgiving, and it'll just all be ready to rock. So
that's perfect.
Double.
All right, that sounds
All
great.
right, let's
you
do
ready
it.
to go? I'm ready to go too.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here goes everything. Business Brain, episode 70. What are we doing?
704.
704. I had myself in the wrong spot. I'm like, I don't think that's right.
That's okay. I didn't know how to spell the show.
That's fair. Yeah. All right, we'll try this again. Business Brain, episode 704 for Wednesday, November 26th, National Cake Day 2025. Woohoo! I love cake.
Oh, God, I love cake, too. I'm not a pie guy. Cake for me.
I love Samuel German's cake. Samuel German made German chocolate cake. And welcome to Business Brain. He was from like South Carolina. We are the show.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not from Germany. We are the show where we take a few ideas, we crunch them, we dissect them, we use them to tune our business brains so that we can each ensure we're living that charmed life just a little bit better, leveling up each and every day. Speaking of leveling up, our sponsors, masterclass.com/businessbrain. You get up to 50% off sometimes here in the holiday season, so you got to go check that link out. And shopify.com/businessbrain, where you can sign up for your $1 per month trial period. That's going to help you level up like crazy. We'll talk about those more in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
You know, and I'm Shannon Jean in Northern California. I love both these sponsors because they're super useful. Like Masterclass is, everybody should subscribe because it's such a game changer. And Shopify will change your life as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
But I also love that they come back. They keep coming back and sponsoring the show, which I love. It's a good indicator that our people
performing.
like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrific. I'm happy to be here. The other thing I love about this show is that I use it to kind of reinforce a lot of this stuff in my own head. So, I just grab these topics like, oh, what are we talking about today? I was just eating lunch down at my house, and I was like, I got 50, what are we doing? And then I look through my list of things notes that I've taken and, things that I've recorded. It's like, oh, let's talk about this because I think this is a good idea. But let's see what Dave thinks, and let's see what our users think. And
listeners.
Yeah, it's cool. Listeners, users.
Fine. Audience.
Yeah. Audience. There we go.
Yep.
I think that's great. Yes. So I'm glad to be here, and I have an idea I'd like to run by you.
Run it.
Run it. And I'm calling it permissionless UTM.
Okay.
Okay.
We're not talking about some kind of like infection or anything here.
I don't think so. No.
All right, great.
But a UTM is called an urchin tracking module. That's what the acronym stands for.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because Google bought a company called Urchin that had created this system to track it. It was an analytics company. They bought them in 2005. And I only know this because ChatGPT told me. And so everybody uses this UTM now.
I thought it was a user tracking metric.
So did I. It's exactly what I thought, because that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe it's, I don't think ChatGPT's lying, but no, there it is. Yeah, urchin
No.
tracking.
Wikipedia also agrees. It's an urchin tracking module parameter.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So it is. So I didn't know a lot about it, but I'm working with this company, and I'm using UTMs to track how my, people that are in my mastermind or people that follow me, how they, we're routing people to these certain resources so we can check it. So the UTM allows your analytics, we use Google Analytics or Adobe or whoever, they track that based on, so if you've ever seen a link that has a question mark behind it, so if you, businessbrain.show, davehamilton.com, shannonjean.com, or davethenerd.com. If there's
either one, they go to the same place. But thank you.
Perfect. Yep. If there's a little question mark, and then it'll say UTM, and sometimes it'll say UTM underscore source or UTM underscore campaign. Okay. Right. Equal, and then it has some set of words. Sometimes it's very long. Sometimes it's not. Yeah, this is great.
UTM source equals Google. UTM,
Google, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm a big fan of getting my name connected with companies that I do things with. I always tell people selling is not enough. Like I'm a huge proponent of selling on marketplaces like eBay, Whatnot, Poshmark, but I always tell, hey, selling is not enough. You need to go reach out to those people that run that company and introduce yourself.
You've
LinkedIn,
made that clear.
Whatever. We've talked about
we do it here all the time.
Yeah,
every
totally
time we mention anybody on the show,
you send an email. Yes,
correct.
Yes. So I started thinking, I have companies that I send a lot of traffic to. Why can't I just use my own UTM? And it will show up in their analytics, and they'll ask themselves, who is this Shannon Jean guy?
Oh. They'll think it's a woman, but that's a different story.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's a good, it makes it for a good talking point.
Exactly.
So now, like one of the companies, I send people to, like thousands of people to auction companies like GovDeals and all these different sites that use, and they track their analytics. So now when I post any link to these sites, I add question mark, UTM underscore campaign equals Shannon Jean. And I don't know if anything will happen, but it's free. It only takes a second. I've made a text expander UTM little thing for each of these websites. And the question I have now, my ChatGPT says, yes, you will show up in their analytics because it's just another campaign.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring it up today to see, do you think that's true? And get your thoughts on this idea.
I think it is true that you will show up in their analytics. I mean, that's how that works. I'm getting a little hung up on
I could sense some hesitation.
Well, no hesitation.
Okay.
I think it's a brilliant idea. Where I'm hung up is campaign the right
or source
parameter, or is it source? Because there's 5 that you can use: source, medium, campaign, term, and content.
So probably source, right?
Well, there's an argument for either or.
Okay.
Why not both, Shannon? If we can't decide which one is right,
both?
Yeah, absolutely. You would do so. The way UTM campaigns, or the way HTML parameters work, or HTML is the wrong word. The way link parameters work.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that you get the link. So let's say it's businessbrain.show/review, right? Which is where you're going to go. I'm gonna build this link while we're talking here. So I'm going to businessbrain.show/review, and then that's the link. So what you do is you put a question mark at the end of the link to say, okay, the link is over. Now I'm going to add some parameters.
Okay.
So the UTM source would be the first one. So that's UTM_source equals, BB. I'm going to put BB704 since this is Business Brain 704. Okay.
Okay. Great.
And then for all other parameters, any additional parameters are separated by an ampersand. So it would be UTM campaign equals BB704, right? So you'd get this thing that is businessbrain.show/review $UTM_source BBM704 UTM campaign and ampersand UTM campaign. So I'm trying to think if there's an easy way for me to show this on the screen, but I'm not sure that there actually is. But that would be that's like so.
That's awesome.
Actually, yeah, I can. You know what? I can put it in a little banner. Well, no, I can just build a little banner here. So it would be this businessbrain.show/review UTM_source equals BBM704.
So I can do both. Okay,
and UTM campaign equals BB704. So you put Shannon.
I'm going to put
place of those.
and UTM campaign equal call me, or there's my phone number, or there's my email. Can I put a?
Oh, you could put a URL. You can put shannongene.com. Maybe try it.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to try it because I'd like to send them to a page that says, hey.
My recommendation would be to make both fields the same, because some people looking at their analytics are going to look at the source. Some are going to look at the campaign. Some might look at both, but I would just put shannongene.com in for both of those, because if people visit shannongene.com, they can get your contact info. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I'm excited. Yeah. I will never use another normal URL again.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Because you're sending, it just depends. Like if you can use it for any context. Like if you have a supplier that you're listing on your website or something like that, and you want to be able to go and say, hey, I'm sending people the whole time. Look at your analytics. And, here's my prediction. I'm going to start using this today. Yep. And sometime in the future, I don't know, I'm not going to put a limit on it.
Yeah.
But sometime in the future, I'm going to come back and do this show, and I'm going to say, hey, Dave, you remember in episode 704 when I came up with this crazy permissionless UTM thing? Just today, I got a call from this company that saw me in their analytics, and they want to do XYZ with me.
I guarantee you it'll work. Yeah. What I'm thinking of is the thought running in my head is does a WordPress plugin exist to automatically tack this on to any URLs I put in there that don't already have one? Because sometimes they come with one, like if it's a sponsor thing, I don't want to mess with that. Yeah. But if it doesn't already have one, just tack it on when you publish the article, and away you go. And then that way when people come to the website, click on the show notes, they get this Because why wouldn't we put businessbrain.show in for that?
Of course. And if that plugin doesn't exist?
Well, listen on Friday if that plugin doesn't exist, because I have an answer for you.
Awesome.
Yes. Yes.
That's super cool. Yeah, so I'm excited about this. If you're familiar with UTMs or SEO or anything that I'm missing here, reach out. feedback@businessbrain.show. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a thing about an evolution of my persistent pest concept here that I want to talk about. The next thing that we want to do is tell you about our sponsors. And you ever notice how online shopping has gotten dangerously easy? I'm convinced that half of my late night purchases happen because of that magical purple shop pay button. I swear that thing has saved me from getting out of bed more times than meditation apps have saved my sanity. And here's the kicker. Every time you see that purple button, that's Shopify doing its thing behind the scenes. And the truth is, Shopify doesn't just make buying easy, it makes building and running a business easier than anything you've ever tried. I use it myself for merch for one of my other podcasts. And if Business Brain ever launches merch, you better believe Shopify is going to be the platform that we go to. That purple Shop Pay button is basically the charmed life button for entrepreneurs. Did you know Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States? That's wild. And it supports everyone from massive brands like Mattel and Gymshark all the way down to folks like us, who are taking that leap on building their business ideas. You don't need to be a designer. Shopify gives you hundreds of beautiful templates that make your storefront look pro from day one. You can manage everything in one place: inventory, payments, analytics, and spread the word with built-in email and marketing tools. Plus, customers already trust that purple Shop Pay button, and that's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. You get the lift instantly. It's time to turn your big business idea into ka-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/businessbrain. Go to shopify.com/businessbrain. One more time, shopify.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. And if you're trying to build your charmed life, one of the smartest moves you can make is investing in your brain. And lately, I've been doing that by diving into the Masterclass platform. It's like a little daily ritual. Instead of doom scrolling, I jump into a few short lessons, and suddenly I'm learning from people operating at the highest levels on the planet. For example, Mark Cuban's class in Think Like a Boss collection, right? This guy sees opportunity the way rest of us see air and food. You can walk away from that session thinking, yep, I need to rethink how I'm approaching half of my business decisions. And that's a good thing, right? Always learning. I've also been exploring lessons from the athlete's mindset, because if high-performing founders and elite athletes share anything, it is resilience, bullheaded persistence. And then there's the deal maker's mindset with Chris Voss. That one can probably come with a warning label. If I start negotiating for extra guac at restaurants, well, you'll know why. What I love about Masterclass is that it fits into your life without stealing your time. Thousands of bite-sized lessons, all available on your phone, your laptop, or your TV, wherever you really want. Do you like watching at night? Great. You want to watch in the morning? Great. Or you can listen in audio-only mode while making tea. It all counts and it all compounds. And here's the data that impresses me. 3 out of 4 Masterclass members say they feel inspired every time they watch. 83% have applied something that they have learned. Those numbers track, folks, because I'm already doing the same thing. And look, Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. So head over to masterclass.com/businessbrain for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/businessbrain. Go check it out. See what's there. Masterclass.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Masterclass for sponsoring this episode. So, Shannon, I've mentioned this concept of the friendly persistent pest. recently.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And it's
I've been called worse.
Yeah, well, right, same. And it's not something new to us or to me, but it is something that we're like freshly identifying here and
Yes.
codifying in ways, which is great. And it's working phenomenally well. The real trick is that we're finding is to be not just the persistent pests, but the persistent pest that's asking, how can we help?
Nice.
Generally, it's how
So
can we
adding
help?
value. Yeah.
Yes, it's how can we help make it easier to do business with us. But like that's okay. Like we want to help make their jobs easier, and so
Yeah.
we're explicitly asking for this.
And if you didn't see that episode, I don't know what number it is. Dave was sharing how, and I believe I have the right context. You were at an event and you would ask people, "Hey, how do we help you guys more? What can we do for you?" And they were like, "Well, you need to reach out to us more. You
Yes.
need to right and that kind of
Yes.
thing," which I think is
Yep.
great.
Which is great. Yep.
Yep.
And so we've really tweaked that. Initially, when people told us that, we didn't quite understand what they were asking because they weren't articulating it. But they really want us to be pesty, just in a friendly way.
Yeah,
which
I like
helps them do their job. Whatever is top of mind is what people are going to work with. Now, what I've noticed though is that we don't always have to be pesty like this. I think there's phases to this, because what being a persistent, friendly, helpful pest does is it gets you top of mind, and then people start working with you, and then a habit sets in.
Yeah.
And once that habit sets in, you don't have to be as much of a pest as you were initially.
That's a good point.
You can remain present, but it's you don't need to be quite as pesty because they already know, oh, they're here, they want to help us. Like that is now truth to them because they've probably preached it to someone else saying, oh, hey, work with those folks at Business Brain. They're great. They're going to be right on top of it for you. And once they tell somebody else that, now it's very difficult to get them to shift their mindset because they've now committed
that's
to
pretty
this.
good. Yeah,
right?
that's really good. Great
So there's-
persuasion. Yeah.
What's that?
It's great persuasion.
It's persuasion,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
But they're doing it themselves.
they're
not
doing it
like-
themselves,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's the natural byproduct of delivering on being that persistent pest, that helpful person. As long as you can deliver on it, and whatever your actual product is, whatever the thing is they are buying or getting from you, as long as that is of high quality, then all the rest of this just sort of falls into place. And you can get away with, I'm not saying you necessarily should, but you can get away with backing off on that pestiness, either the degree of it or the frequency of it, or sometimes both. But to develop those relationships and to set those habits, you have to be that pest. And if you wind up losing someone, and what often happens, and this is where the risk comes in, is, whoever your point of contact is at any given company might change. That person
Yeah,
might move to
always
another
happen, yeah.
company. They
Common.
might move to a different job. And if you're not staying on them frequently enough, they might not pass you off to the next person. And so you can rest
Yeah.
on you can do the work and rest on your laurels a little bit, but you've always got to make sure you're in touch with these folks, because you want to make sure that if there is a new person, that they sing your praises to that new point of contact, because that's
Yeah.
part of the key. There's a whole
Yeah,
we've
that's-
been through
that's
this
important.
the whole changing point of contact thing. There's more that has to be done there, because
Yeah.
you want to give that person the opportunity to nicely say to their boss, the last person didn't know what they were doing and I'm doing it better. So you don't want to offer to have them do
Yeah.
the same thing. You want to give them something new, but that's a whole different mindset.
Yeah. You want to have that. You want to have a successful handoff, right? Where they're like, oh, one of the people you really need to be sure you talk to is Dave.
Is
'Cause
Dave.
And then also, to your point of the new person wanting to be better.
Yes.
And that kind of, you can maybe you seed that with
You have an
your-
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, your contact to say, hey, we're rolling out a bunch of new stuff. Be sure to let the new rep know that they want to check in with us to be sure we can share what's going on.
That's
and
fair.
So maybe that natural inclination to do something new better.
Yeah.
You can because then they could go and say, hey, I talked to Dave and now we're going to do it this way, that way, and the other, even though it was your idea. Right?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Better when it's sold by somebody else. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I'm gonna start using that. When that doesn't happen, or if that doesn't land, what I have found is saying something like, we've been doing the same thing for so long. I have another idea if you'd like to consider it, right?
I like that.
To let them know that, like, you're there. Oh, really? I think I've got something better here. We never really went to it because we were just on autopilot. Not saying anything negative about it, but letting them decide. Because I've lost deals just because someone new came in and wanted to change things for no good reason.
Yeah, or they bring their contacts with them.
Fair.
Super common. From my side, if it's a supplier, all of a sudden they're bringing their clients in and pushing me out.
Yes.
So you have to work hard for that. And it's something that definitely, I think the persistent pest, I love that term pesty because it's a little less pest-like. Yep. But that concept is really powerful on many ways, and on not because when you're explaining it as you're a vendor trying to keep your client, I'm thinking of it as, I'm a customer and I want to keep that connection, or I'm a seller on a platform. We talked about this before the show. I'm selling on eBay, so I want to be sure I reach out to their community outreach team all the time. So they hear me, know who I am, and you can be a resource so they can help promote your account, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a great concept. I love it.
Yeah, it can work in so many different ways. And now that it's something I've just sort of always done at times. Now that we're codifying it internally, I'm more aware of when I see it coming in, other people that are doing it with me. And there's people that do it well and people that don't. And in fact, one of our vendors said to us, I love how you are persistent. They didn't use the term persistently pesty, but that's basically what they said. And they said, what's interesting is I love the way you do it. There's other people that drive me crazy. And I stopped him and I said, I don't need to know who those people are. It doesn't that doesn't matter. Sure. But if you figure out what it is about what they do that upsets you, tell me so that I will never do that. Yeah. And he stopped for a second and he was like, let me think. He's like, well, you know what? Let me think about this another time. He's like, because I want to get you an answer, but I want to get back to the business we were doing. I was like, yeah. I didn't mean for you to do it now, but that's fine.
And don't misinterpret. It's not just selling all the time. It's
relationships.
It's you're working on the relationship, and some of it you can automate and systematize, of course. But you just want to have your name top of mind.
Mind. That's it. In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Yep. Absolutely. That's great. Awesome. Great tip.
It's good stuff. Yeah. And when that habit gets set, that's when that's what you're going for, really, is that habitual stuff.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Feedback at businessbrain.show if you want to tell us anything. And also businessbrain.show/review is where we want you to go, please. And leave us a review, and that'll enter you into the drawing for a MacBook, which we're going to be doing real soon now. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next week. Well, actually, no. We'll see you Friday.
See you Friday. Don't miss it.
That's right. Keep living that charmed life. All right. We're out.
Cool. Awesome. So we've got about 400 people in the stream. I'm going to tell you a little story in between the episodes here because Dave is going to do a little work on that first episode because we like to push stuff out real quick. So I cooked, we had Friendsgiving this weekend. Yep. And there's a method of kind of welcoming people. Everybody wants food, right? Food is just great. Everybody connects. Yes. But if you're the person that is, let's say, prepping the meat. In my case, I smoked a turkey and I had a turkey going on the rotisserie. Okay. And I often do this for events, right? I have a brisket. I'm cooking a brisket. I'm cooking a pork butt, whatever it is. And one of the things I started doing I've done it for a while, is that I'm wearing gloves and I'm cutting stuff up as people are there, getting it all prepped and everything. And what I do is I put samples in my hand and I walk around and I go, here, try some of this. Have a piece. Have a piece. Tell me what you think. And I always joke. I say, well, you're either going to like it or you're my friend, so you'll lie. So either way, I'm going to win. But that, I've just found that I see people kind of light up. Here comes this guy with this greasy black glove, but I'm like the barbecue guy. And I'm handing out, a piece of brisket, or in this case, a piece of a turkey. And I had, here, try this one. This was on the rotisserie. Try this one. This was on the smoker. Tell me which one you like the best. And it really I just noticed, especially this last weekend, because we invite a bunch of our friends, neighbors from the dog park.
Oh, sure.
People that they come to my house once a year.
Right.
And so as I was walking around handing out the meat, I could see them all like, oh, it's great. And then they were talking about it and everything. I thought, wow, that's an interesting way to make people relax and chill out and also feel welcome in your house, because normally people don't walk around and hand you a chunk of meat.
No,
but it works.
No, but like I noticed that, like, if you go to a restaurant, I mean, a nicer restaurant or whatever, they will sometimes just bring some food, like this is from the chef, an amuse-bouche. Yes, exactly.
I love that word too.
Same.
Yeah, it's from the chef. And so I'm, getting everything prepped, and they can see I'm all busy, and I got 2 turkeys, and I got I'm getting ready to carve. But you stop and you go walk around. And, one thing I love about, this is just such a random thought, but one thing I love about cooking turkeys is that you can rest them for so long. Gordon Ramsay says you should rest the turkey for as long as you cook it. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And this time, the rotisserie bird is quick. That got done in like 2.5 hours. And the smoked bird took like 5 hours.
Sure.
So I rested that rotisserie bird for almost 3 hours, and it was still delicious and juicy and warm. It was pretty cool. But anyway, just something that you can adapt it maybe to anything that you're doing, taking a spoonful around of people or do whatever. And I love, I do the same thing for your employees, cooking. If we look up barbecue, if you go to businessbrain.show/brain, that'll take you to our Delphi repository where you can ask questions of 700 or so episodes of Business Brain and search for barbecue, because we've done all kinds of episodes about Friday barbecues and why they're really great to do with your team. It's kind of an impromptu meeting that they don't know it's a meeting, right? But you can gain. There's so much to gain in that casual environment.
It's true.
Super cool.
It's true.
Super good. How you doing?
All right.
You all set?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock.
Awesome. Let's go. Here comes our Friday Eye episode. Be sure to stick around. We have some great stuff to talk about.
Here goes nothing. Business Brain, episode 705 for Casual Friday Eye, November 28th, National Day of Listening 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take some ideas, we crunch them, we dissect them, we use them to tune our business brains to level up our charmed lives each and every time we get together. Speaking of leveling up, our sponsors, Shopify.com/businessbrain lets you level up by signing up for a $1 per month trial period, and Masterclass.com/businessbrain. They always have great holiday season offers there, sometimes up to 50% off. So visit masterclass.com/businessbrain. We'll talk more about both of those in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And in Northern California, I'm still Shannon Jean, and I'm stoked to be here because I want to learn about what you said before the show about Google anti-gravity, which I know nothing about.
Dude.
And so we're going to cover that a little bit later. So I'm super
excited.
excited.
We're going to cover it right. I'm taking the reins.
Right now? You can't
we're
wait?
doing it right
okay,
now.
Good.
Yeah, no,
Let's
we
go
can't.
ahead.
No, we're doing
it. Okay.
We're here. So I've used Google anti-gravity is for programming. Okay.
Okay.
It's AI for programming. But there's more to it than that. I've used various different things to help me with coding. I've used just straight Chat GPT. It's fine. It can write code. Of course, everything just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
It can write code, but the scope that ChatGPT can see is limited. I've used GitHub Copilot. In fact, up until 2 days ago, I had a GitHub Copilot subscription that I paid $10 a month for.
And you canceled it.
I canceled it. Yeah.
Whoa.
It links inside of GitHub's VS Code app, which is a development environment app where you can see your code and have VS Code or have a Copilot running alongside it. It'll not just make edits to your code, but it will see things and explain them, and it's fine. And I've used Claude Code a bit. Claude Code is kind of a level up from either of those because it will do all of that stuff where it sees your code, but it will also it is agentic. And by that, I mean it runs little agents to do things in the background for you. Google Anti-Gravity is based on Gemini 3. It is its
I've heard a lot about that.
Yep. It is its own development environment. It looks a lot like VS Code. In fact, there's some discussion out there that it's like a fork of VS Code. All that means is, you see your list of files on the right, the code in the middle, and then your little conversation with the agent with anti-gravity on the far right.
Okay.
So it's a 3-pane view. So I thought, okay, I have an issue that I need to solve in a project that I wrote. And so I loaded it into, and it's a fairly simple project, but it does something that no other things do. In fact, it's the Backbeat Media private prefix that that keeps your information from being specifically tied to you. It does it directionally when you download the show, and that's a good thing. And it works. It's been great. We've been running it for a year, but there's an issue with some hosting providers where it wasn't quite. They aren't answering queries the right way, and so we were causing some issues with that.
So you're going to adapt.
I need to adapt to them.
Okay,
yep, I got to find a workaround. Yeah. So I go in, I load this in to Anti-Gravity. I downloaded Anti-Gravity. It's currently free. Loaded it in and said, before I tell you what we need to do and we start working, what I want you to do is look at this entire project and tell me what it does, and then I will offer corrections. And it nailed it. It explained exactly what it did and understood the why, which is not in the code anywhere. Like the code is just the code.
That's cool.
But it was like, yeah, I see what you're doing. You're proxying these requests. You're doing this, and you're sending along enough information to identify where the user comes from, and you're sending along what becomes a unique ID for the user, although that ID can never be tied to that user in any other way. And then it said, this appears to be something to protect the privacy of people downloading podcasts. And it was like, whoa.
That's pretty good.
Like,
That's great.
And I was like, awesome. Well, it gets better. And because I think any AI worth its salt could do that. It could look at something and explain what it is. So I was like, okay, at least now I don't have to tell you anything else. You understand where we're coming from. Great. I said, look, here's the problem. I gave it some links. I said, this one should return a 206. It doesn't. It returns a 200. Trying to figure out why and what we might need to do. And it's like, yep, I see the part in your code where you're adapting or trying to adapt for this, and it's causing some extra loads to happen, which shouldn't happen. And so, all right, let me look. And then it went out to the terminal all by itself and started testing different ways of reaching these URLs.
Oh.
And found the right one. And it was like, okay, I did these 4 different things. When I did it this way, it worked. So I propose we adapt the code this way, yada, yada, yada. It did all the things, and it said, okay. And it also could tell just from looking that it was like, oh, this is a Cloudflare agent. I see. That means a few different things. Like it understood that the whole context and scope. And all of this happened in probably the same amount of time that it's taking me to explain it to you.
I love it.
This would have been probably a 3 to 4 hour project for me. To get back into this, remember what I'd written before. Okay, like let's see. Even using AI, I'd be like, right, where is the thing? Yeah, we got to do this. Okay, well, I need to make sure it doesn't break anything else. Okay, fine. And it was like, all right, test this and see if it works. And it didn't. And I told it, I was like, okay, well, here's what's happening. It's like, okay, they're still not looking at these requests the right way. Let's force it to see it. But then let's also build a fallback so that if it doesn't work, we're not hitting the server again. We're getting things right. This is going to be a, best case scenario and second best case scenario kind of thing.
Right.
It was like, how about we do this? I'm like, and I even asked it, I was like, are you sure that that's right? It's like, yeah, here's why. I was like, actually, I agree. Okay, great. Really fascinating. It took maybe 20 minutes start to finish from like downloading it to being
awesome.
done and walking away from my desk.
Wow.
It's friggin' amazing.
That is amazing.
It's not the only agentic coding assistant out there, but from the ones I like it better than any that I've used so far.
So far. And could you use it like, hey, we need to create some sort of process internal to track this data or do any of these kind of, it's just like, it's similar to some of the other, I'm not a big fan of this vibe coding
that's
concept, but it is. A non-programmer could go use it to, create something that's going to help their business.
Correct. Hey,
Awesome.
I'm actually curious, why are you against vibe coding?
Well, it's not that I'm against it. I feel like there's been this divide when I read about it online. It's like, well, this was vibe coded. Like that's not quite a real thing. Whereas from when I look at it, I'm like, well, dude, if it's saving you time and effort, and I'm using it to create some amazing stuff that I'm using internally, and maybe some of it that got painted with the brush where people were creating like software as a service platforms and not doing good privacy or doing different things. I remember there was like some dating app that was created by vibe coding and everything was wide open. So, but that's
okay. Because here I am a big fan of it.
Currently,
I think depending on the complexity of the project, like this thing, if I weren't there to look at the code and say, hey, wait, aren't we... Actually, it didn't miss anything with that. I did another project with it, or a different facet of this project, and it missed something. I'm like, well, wait, if you do it that way, isn't that going to miss all these other things? It was going to iterate through a database and clean some things up. And it was like, oh my gosh, you're totally right. Right? So,
that's good.
Like, you still have... I think you are best off if you have someone managing the project that can think like an engineer and understand
it.
Yeah. But I mean, I think from this day forward, I don't know that anything won't be vibe coded. I mean, I think for the next few years, it will require a bona fide software engineer, an experienced software engineer.
Sure.
Let me explain what I mean by bona fide. Yeah. An experienced software engineer to manage the vibe coding to get good results out with complex stuff. With simple stuff, if you want to have it vibe code like some JavaScript for your website to do a thing or whatever, it's going to work fine. Because you know what you want out of it. So you can test it and see if it's right. And if
I've
it's
spent my whole life hiring people to do this stuff, and often they don't get it right because it's an interpretation kind of thing where I can tell the AI over and over, no, this is exactly what I wanted to do, and
and it doesn't get mad at you for telling it over and over again.
Yeah, let me just adjust this, and it doesn't cost you more money. Like, now I got to go back and we've got to do this, and we're going to need more money.
Pay for a revision. Yeah,
exactly. So that's cool. That's exciting.
I think vibe coding is. I was going to say I think it's the future. I do.
Yeah.
I also think it's the present.
I agree.
And I know there are companies out there that are against AI.
It's ridiculous.
I know some programmers that work at companies like this, and they are all looking to get out because their skills are going to die on the vine if they're not leveling up to how things are done today.
That's right. And it's a great segue for what I want to talk about. Contextual AI, especially with people that are worried about it. And I had a really interesting discussion with a group of people this weekend, and I think I came up with a good method to allay a lot of their concerns and fears about things AI related. So love to share it with you.
Amazing. All right. I want to do that right after this next thing because I want to talk about our sponsors. And you ever notice how online shopping has gotten dangerously easy? I'm convinced that half of my late night purchases happen because of that magical purple shop pay button. I swear that thing has saved me from getting out of bed more times than meditation apps have saved my sanity. And here's the kicker. Every time you see that purple button, that's Shopify doing its thing behind the scenes. And the truth is, Shopify doesn't just make buying easy, it makes building and running a business easier than anything you've ever tried. I use it myself for merch for one of my other podcasts. And if Business Brain ever launches merch, you better believe Shopify is going to be the platform that we go to. That purple Shop Pay button is basically the charmed life button for entrepreneurs. Did you know Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States? That's wild. And it supports everyone from massive brands like Mattel and Gymshark all the way down to folks like us, who are taking that leap on building their business ideas. You don't need to be a designer. Shopify gives you hundreds of beautiful templates that make your storefront look pro from day one. You can manage everything in one place: inventory, payments, analytics, and spread the word with built-in email and marketing tools. Plus, customers already trust that purple Shop Pay button, and that's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. You get the lift instantly. It's time to turn your big business idea into ka-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/businessbrain. Go to shopify.com/businessbrain. One more time, shopify.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. And if you're trying to build your charmed life, one of the smartest moves you can make is investing in your brain. And lately, I've been doing that by diving into the Masterclass platform. It's like a little daily ritual. Instead of doom scrolling, I jump into a few short lessons, and suddenly I'm learning from people operating at the highest levels on the planet. For example, Mark Cuban's class in Think Like a Boss collection, right? This guy sees opportunity the way rest of us see air and food. You can walk away from that session thinking, yep, I need to rethink how I'm approaching half of my business decisions. And that's a good thing, right? Always learning. I've also been exploring lessons from the athlete's mindset, because if high-performing founders and elite athletes share anything, it is resilience, bullheaded persistence. And then there's the deal maker's mindset with Chris Voss. That one can probably come with a warning label. If I start negotiating for extra guac at restaurants, well, you'll know why. What I love about Masterclass is that it fits into your life without stealing your time. Thousands of bite-sized lessons, all available on your phone, your laptop, or your TV, wherever you really want. Do you like watching at night? Great. You want to watch in the morning? Great. Or you can listen in audio-only mode while making tea. It all counts and it all compounds. And here's the data that impresses me. 3 out of 4 Masterclass members say they feel inspired every time they watch. 83% have applied something that they have learned. Those numbers track, folks, because I'm already doing the same thing. And look, Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. So head over to masterclass.com/businessbrain for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/businessbrain. Go check it out. See what's there. Masterclass.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Masterclass for sponsoring this episode. All right, Shannon. So you spent some time talking with people who were naysayers, huh? AI naysayers? NAI sayers?
NAI sayers like that. Yeah. So I mentioned we had this Friendsgiving we're talking about in between the episodes here today. And so I had some business people there, just regular I call them civilians, non-business people, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And we got to talking about AI. And of course, I can't stop talking about any of this stuff ever. So I'm constantly like, oh my gosh, changed my life. And let me show you. Let me tell you. I got my phone right here. Look. And so there was just around the group, it was a big table. There was a bunch of people. In my little section of the table, there was a lot of, whoa, I don't like, this. And there was a guy who was an engineer that was, great guy, but really focused on telling everybody how AI gets everything wrong, and it lies, and this can cause all kinds of problems. And I was like, wow, man, I upload my credit card statements to that, just to kind of freak them out. But anyway, as I got to talk about it, the more I talked about how it helps me, the more I realized that the AI it's very contextual to my life. It's not like I'm going to it to, yes, of course it's teaching me things, but a lot of it, most of it is related to what I'm personally doing and what it has knowledge of that I have given it.
Yes,
that I have uploaded.
The more data you give it.
Yeah. It, I've uploaded hundreds of Zoom call transcripts that I've had with people to help me really figure out, well, how do I best add value to people? How do I talk about this concept, and how is it received, and how can I adjust my methodology and make it go? So I noticed that when I started talking about it in the context, and I was not wearing my AI
your limitless thing
pendant, my limitless pendant, but I went and got it because when I mentioned it, they were like, "What's that?" So, but the more I talked about how it was all related to the context of my business and my personal life, the more relaxed they got. The more I mean, physically, because I could just see them. They were like,
they're ready for a fight.
Ready for a fight.
Yes.
And then as I was like, well, let me show you how I do it. And it was one thing after another when I explained how I repaired the washing machine at one of our rentals, and they were like, oh, wow. And then I explained how I, upload a bunch of coaching materials, and I explained how I use my mastermind material in there to give me some, we're going to develop this. And I do this blind spot thing, which we did the episode last Friday on the blind spot prompts and everything. Everyone in my area, in my section of the table, it just kind of lowered well, I would do that. I'd be comfortable doing that. That's different. No one ever mentioned it like that to me.
That's the problem. You've articulated a problem, because I think, and my guess is a lot of those of you listening are doing the same thing that I'm doing here, just nodding along, because this is a tech that doesn't have a technology built analog to it. This isn't an it is an improvement on something that came before. It's just something that we as consumers, let's say, were not tapping into before. The whole machine learning thing is something that we've taken advantage of for a very long time. The whole pattern matching and
we just don't know it. It's happening in the background.
We know that we can search. We can go into the Photos app and say, find me Shannon and a cat, and it will find me all of the pictures of you with a cat, and at least someone named Shannon with a cat. Whatever. And it's all the same core technology, but what we're doing with these LLMs, where we can interface directly with it, that's new. And so I think what a lot of people do is the first thing that they do when they connect to ChatGPT is, somebody told them to use it, and they go and they say, who is themselves? So who is Dave Hamilton?
Right.
And it gets it wrong. And the reason it gets it wrong is that you're not important enough. I'm not important. If I put in who's Dave Hamilton, I've published a lot of stuff on the internet for 2 decades. But there were baseball players named Dave Hamilton that were more famous than me. There are musicians named Dave Hamilton that are not me that are more famous than me, right? Like, it doesn't know what I mean. It doesn't. I haven't given it enough to get any sort of semblance right. And people just say, well, it told me that, I was this and that I died, and it's wrong, and it gets everything wrong. It's like, no, it got that wrong on the day you tried it. Now, have you tried it in the year and a half since then? Probably not, because you decided it was wrong. And what, of course, we know, and what we've learned and what we talk about all the time is the more information. It's not about the information it has. It is now a search engine replacement.
Sure.
But it is not. That's not its prime use case.
Right.
The more information I give it about me and what I want, the better it is.
And what you're doing,
Yeah, now if I ask it, who is Microsoft, it's going to get that answer right, just like a search engine would, right? That's why it's a good search engine replacement. But how often do you just go type your own name into a search engine and it gets it right. It doesn't. And
that's
so,
right.
like, for most of us, you might, Shannon. I don't know. I haven't searched for myself in a long time. But it's explaining to people, and just what you did, here's how I use it. I give it a ton of information about me or about what I want it to research, and then I have it synthesize all that information.
That's right.
And that's where people, people that have decided AI is bad have never even tried using it that way in most cases.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
that's what they're missing out on. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just interesting that I didn't realize it, but as I kind of leaned into it more of trying to show them how powerful it is and how it enables me to do so much more in my day-to-day, and it's become my assistant, my partner, whatever, but it's all about me and the stuff I create, my business, my social, my life. I mean, all these things that I have provided a bunch of context, and it comes back and says, "Oh, okay, well, let's tweak it. We've talked about this before.
We've talked about this before. It knows things.
Yeah,
yes.
I know you've done this before, and da-da-da. And even now, with like wearing the Limitless pendant, I every morning I look to see what it pulled from the day before.
Yes.
And it's fascinating because I had just a super frustrating day yesterday, and I'm not going to go into it, but
Sure.
I had not an automotive, but I have a Yamaha Rhino side-by-side utility vehicle that was all messed up, and I'm not an engine guy, and I was so frustrated. I was taking video with ChatGPT and all this kind of stuff, and Limitless just actually said, "Hey, don't be so hard on yourself about something you don't know. What you should think about is, I know a bunch of other things. This skill, it's smarter to me to delegate it to somebody else." And I thought that was great because
great
it was
advice.
it just it changes the frame where I'm sitting there kicking the tires in this thing going, why can't I fix it? I can, I want to be effective and da-da-da-da. And I can't fix a carburetor. I don't know how to do it.
That's not your thing.
This is older. It's not my thing. But I'm taking a video and talking to the AIs. That's my thing.
That's your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just thought I'd put it.
I think we can help the naysayers by educating them.
Yeah.
Really, like that.
Yep.
That's really what this is. And each person has a reason for being a naysayer. And every time I say naysayer, I'm thinking about NAI sayers.
Oh, I like that.
Yep.
But
I'm
going to put that in our notes.
It's already in the show notes too. But this is a thing. Yeah, it's the naysayers. But everybody has different reasons. One of the most common ones is fear of the unknown, fear of change, all of that.
Exactly. That's
that's
huge
okay.
one. Yeah.
That's human. That's part of the human condition.
And if you don't do it all the time,
Yeah.
If you don't constantly change all the time and reinvent yourself and come up with new things and do all, it jolts you out of your system.
Yes.
And guys like Dave and I, we've been jolting since we were like in our early 20s. And
maybe
so
even
you just
earlier.
maybe early. So you're just kind of like, oh, good, here comes another jolt.
Here comes another one. That's what
I'm
we
excited
live for.
that. Yeah, I love the jolt, but other
I can
people
hear
like,
the jolt reverberating in your office.
Yeah,
there.
sorry, I hit my microphone. I got so
That's
excited.
Great.
I live for it too, and it's exciting, and it kind of shocks you and changes your thought. Oh, I did not know this, and all these things. I always tell my kids, it's like, man, my business right now did not exist 18 months ago, and I knew nothing about it, and I'm so excited about it because it's so new and it invigorates me. But I've had to change and adapt dramatically. So, talking to people that are concerned, it's a good point that you make about.
Just need to help educate them.
You got to help them.
We're recording this before U.S. Thanksgiving, just before.
Yeah.
And as you're telling me this story that you had at your Friendsgiving thing, I know that I'm going to be at. This is like,
it's coming.
This is what Thursday is going to be.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Awesome.
That's fine. You know what? It's
okay.
better than arguing politics. I'll give you that.
It's way better. I'd argue AI all day.
It's not an argument. It's just a discussion.
It's a discussion.
I have nothing to argue other than I encourage you.
I'm not trying to convince you. Yeah.
No, but I encourage you to really give it a shot because because it has made a fundamental difference for me.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
it. And that's why we share about it on the show every week. Speaking of, I think our week has ended, Shannon.
It has. Great week. I hope everybody, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great one. And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Feedback at businessbrain.show is where you can send us all your ideas, AI ideas, whatever. And then, of course, businessbrain.show/review Get those reviews in. We're going to be doing this at the end of the year. Brand new MacBook for somebody. Make it you.
See ya.
See you, folks. Keep living that charmed life. Have a great weekend. And we're out.
Awesome. Great. For the 556 of you that stuck around, thank you so much. We record typically every Monday. We're a little early today because of the holiday, but early on Monday. And we will be back with you and see you next week. Take it easy. Thank you again.
Later.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.